talking to the camera.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not used to it. Hey guys, it's Eliana here with my first official YouTube video. Super excited to make this video and this channel really. Never thought of myself as a person that would make these type of videos, but with the craziness that's going on in the world, the pandemic, and there's been just a lot of changes in my personal life. That was really what inspired this channel. I wanted to share that journey with all of you out there and see if there's anyone that can relate to my craziness. So basically in this first video, I'm gonna be making a DIY Castile soap. I am not an expert by any means. All of the stuff that I used, the steps and all of that, I researched, and I also looked at other YouTube videos. So I'm gonna link the videos that used to help me as well, and I'm going to link all the sites and stuff that I used for research, but hopefully this video would, make it a lot easier. I am going to show you guys how to do your DIY Castile body soap. Now, why DIY body soap? So I recently wanted to make the switch to using all organic natural products. Not necessarily homemade. I've bought some products that I will definitely be reviewing, but I have wanted to make that switch to using, just CVS brands, Walmart brands, and not really caring what I put on my body. So I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that really care about that, and I think it is really important. So I wanted to show you that it's not hard to start using organic and, all natural beauty products, that you don't have to use all those crazy chemicals. So that's going to be one part of the focus of my channel on, making your own homemade products. Also just trying to find, the good products among the bad. And then also I hope to share with you guys, more of my lifestyle, my workouts, my family and friends, and all of that in between.
Alright guys, so let's start the DIY tutorial. Here I started measuring out my oils, and the first oil I used was mango butter. It's a really great option to use as an oil. It's just super conditioning and hydrating for if you're using it as a body wash or even a shampoo base. But it's very similar to shea butter. It comes in like a big chunk, and I kind of just broke it up so that I could measure it out. Here you're going to measure 200 grams of the mango butter. And then just remember, you do want to set your crock pot to warm so that while you're measuring it out, it's kind of warming up. And then when you start putting in the oils, it'll start to melt them. So then the next oil I measured out was my coconut oil. I measured out 150 grams of it. I used the organic 76-degree coconut oil, and I measured that out. I think you can use any other type of coconut oil. It doesn't have to be the 76-degree ones. That's just the one I chose to use in my recipe today, but I'm sure you could use the cold pressed one and it'll work just fine. Here I also measured out my olive oil, and I measured out 150 grams of it. And then I just poured it in. Same thing, I used organic olive oil that I just bought at the grocery store. So here I'm setting my crock pot to high. And then now while that warms up, I'm going to be measuring out my water, and I'm going to be using distilled water. You want to use distilled water. It doesn't have any of the minerals that purified water has, so you want to make sure you use distilled. I just got smart water because that's just what it was at the grocery store. So I measured out 190 grams of water on my smart scale, and that I'm just going to put aside because I am going to get my lye right now so I can use it to measure it out. So I'm going to be using potassium hydroxide. So potassium hydroxide is what you're going to use in liquid soaps. So that was what I picked and what I'm measuring out. In my measurements, am measuring out 99 grams of the lye. You want to make sure that you measure this really carefully, because over measuring is going to mess up your recipe, and it might make it to where you have too much lye and it doesn't saponify correctly. So you want to measure this out really careful. You also want to make sure you're using gloves, protective gloves, and a face mask, as you saw in the video. Once you pour the lye into the water, it can release fumes. You don't want to inhale that. You definitely want to be in a well ventilated room. Here, and always just disclaimer, you always want to make sure you put the lye into the water, not the other way around. So here you're going to just stir it until it turns clear. Keep stirring. I've done this before and I put it in too soon. Make sure you just keep stirring. Probably it'll take about 5 minutes, but sometimes it takes longer, 5 to 10 minutes. So just keep stirring and make sure it's dissolved completely and that the water is completely clear. I did this inside, but I made sure all my windows were open and that the microwave ventilator was on. So I suggest doing that as well. And then now I'm going to get everything ready and I'm going to be pouring the lye and water mixture into my crock pot that is already pretty warm since it is already set on high. So I'm going to pour the lye solution carefully into the crock pot. And then right as I pour that lye solution, I have my immersion blender ready to go. And I'm going to start blending that away. I'm going to keep blending for 5 minutes until it slightly thickens. This didn't take exactly 5 minutes. It took a little bit longer. It took about 10 minutes, but finally it got to that thick consistency that I was looking for. Then you're going to let it just sit for 30 minutes. And then within the 30 minutes, you want to make sure you mix every 5 minutes. And throughout this whole process, you want to make sure the lid is off. So now after this, I let my mixture just sit for about 3.5 hours. I think I actually let it sit for 4 hours just to be safe. But within those 3.5 to 4 hours, you want to make sure you're mixing every 30 minutes. You're going to see it's going to turn into that kind of gelatinous consistency. So every time it kind of changes in the texture, but I pushed down like all the soap that was on the rim so it wouldn't burn. So you just want to make sure you do that and just give it a good mix. Again, every 30 minutes I think was good enough for me. With the type of materials that I used, it didn't really bubble over, but I know if you use like just a coconut based Castile soap only, it will bubble over. So I suggest doing it every 15 minutes instead of every 30. So after it was done, I let it cool down and I grabbed a glob of the mixture and I put in equal parts water and just mixed it. This is the way that I'm going to test the pH of my soap to make sure it's safe to use. So, and I did this in boiling water and then I put the glob in. So make sure the water was boiling. Now I have some pH strips that I bought off of Amazon. I'll link them below in the video, but see here my pH was about 7 to 8, which is a safe range. You never want your soap past a 10. Anything over that is going to be unsafe to use and irritating on the skin. So now, since I know the pH is safe, I'm going to add water distilled water to the crock pot, and I'm kind of breaking it up here so that it can better dissolve the soap. So it's kind of hard, so I would just make sure you use a wooden spoon just to kind of be able to pick the parts up, and I just keep dissolving it. I added in total about 8 cups of water because the first time I came back and there were still soap stems, so I actually added 2 cups extra and then put it to warm and just let the soap mixture sit there. And I just put it in warm. I left it overnight for about 8 hours. That's really the time that I suggest doing it. You also saw me that I added some lavender essential oils while it was warm. Alright guys, so that was the video. Hopefully you guys found it pretty easy to do. But if you found any of the steps confusing, please just comment below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions on the products I used, where I found them. Again, I will link everything down below so you guys can find it yourselves. But yeah, and like I mentioned before, I'm not an expert. So if you guys have any positive
positive. Please share that with me below. I would love to get better at this. And yeah, so if you did enjoy my videos and want to see more, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all the love and all the positivity that you guys can share with me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!